Today, we are decoding literature. We're building the ultimate toolkit that's going to help you understand pretty much any story, whether it's Shakespeare or the latest bestseller. You ever pick up a classic book, or maybe just a poem, and feel like you're trying to read a secret code? Yeah, you are not alone. Literature can feel, well, dense, complicated, and let's be honest, a little intimidating. But what if I told you that we could crack that code together, right now? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do. And get this, our decodering comes from a pretty cool and unexpected place, an English textbook designed for Arabic speakers. It turns out, by going back to the absolute basics, we can unlock a whole new way of looking at literature. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to look at the fundamental building blocks of poetry. Then, we'll dig a little deeper to find the story's soul. After that, we'll tackle the unique language of place, explore the sneaky power of the voice, and finally, we'll put it all together in your new literary toolkit. Sound good? Let's do it. All right, first up, the building blocks of poetry. To understand any big, complex thing, you've got to start with its smallest pieces. And when it comes to literature, poetry is a great place to find those fundamental parts. Here are our first few decoder keys, pulled straight from our textbook source. Seeing these basic English words, line, verse, poetry, poem, right next to their Arabic translations is just a cool reminder that these ideas, they're universal. This is the foundation, no matter what language you're speaking. And here's how it all fits together. Honestly, think of it like Legos. A single line, that's one brick. You click a few lines together and you get a verse. That's like a little section of your creation. And then you put all the verses together and bam, you have the finished product, a complete poem. See? Simple? Of course, you can't talk about poetry without talking about its music. And that rhythm often comes from rhyme, words at the end of lines that sound the same, like way and day. But rhyme isn't just about sounding pretty. It creates patterns, it connects ideas, and it makes the language stick in your head. So, who actually writes these things? I know, it seems like a super basic question, but it's essential. Is a dentist, an astronaut, a poet, or maybe poetry? You got it, it's C, a poet. Okay, simple stuff, I know. But now that we have the who and the what, we can dig into the much more interesting question, the why. Okay, so we've got the basic structure. Now it's time to go a level deeper. Let's talk about what a piece of writing is really all about. Let's find its soul. First, you've got the subject. This is the easy part. It's the what. It's the topic you could describe in just a few words. Is it about a war, a family road trip, a talking dog? That's the subject. But the theme, or as our textbook calls it, the aim, this is where the magic happens. The theme is the why. It's the big idea, the message the author is trying to get across. So if the subject is love, the theme might be that true love requires sacrifice. It's the so what? It's the very soul of the story. And who is telling the story is absolutely crucial. A biography is when someone else writes about a person's life. But an autobiography, that's when the person tells their own story. And this distinction changes everything. That shift in perspective, from an outsider looking in to an insider looking out, completely shapes how we see the story. All right, section 3. Let's switch gears. We're moving from the page to the stage. How in the world do we decode the unique language of a script that's actually meant to be performed out loud? And here we go again. Our textbook gives us the keys to the kingdom: acts, scenes, characters, and stage directions. These are basically the 4 pillars that hold up any play you'll ever see, from ancient Greek tragedies to modern comedies. And the structure is pretty logical, just like in poetry. A play is divided into big chunks called acts. Just think of them like chapters in a book. Then, each act is broken down even further into scenes, which are smaller pieces where all the action happens in one single place at one time. Next up, you have the characters, the people in the play. Simple enough, right? But there's so much more than just names on a page. The characters are the real engines of the story. They're the ones driving everything forward with their decisions, their dialogue, and their conflicts. And this is the real secret code of a script: stage directions. These are the little notes, usually in italics, that you're not supposed to read out loud. They're the hidden instructions for the actors, telling them everything from walks nervously to the window to speaks with a broken voice. This is what turns flat words on a page into a living, breathing performance. Okay, we've hit poetry, we've hit plays. Now for a tool that applies to all kinds of writing.
It might feel like a grammar lesson for a second, but I want you to think of it as a creative choice the author makes. The question is, who or what is the star of the sentence? Check out these two sentences. They say the same thing, but they feel different. In the active voice, Sheeny published his first book. The poet Seamus Heaney is the star. He's the one doing the action. But in the passive voice, the book was published. Suddenly, the book is the star. The focus shifts from the person to the thing. It's a subtle change, but it's powerful. So why on earth would a writer choose to do that? Well, sometimes the action really is more important than who did it. Other times, maybe we don't even know who the actor was. And it can also be used to create a more formal or scientific-sounding tone. It's a powerful way to control exactly where the reader puts their attention.
And just like that, you've done it. You've gathered all the essential tools. You've basically just learned how to see the architecture, find the heart, and read the secret instructions in any piece of literature. You've cracked the code.
So this is it. This is your brand new toolkit. These are your decoder keys. Now you can look at the DNA of a poem with its lines and verses. You can listen for the music of its rhyme. You can look right past the surface plot to find the real soul, the theme. You can ask who's telling the story, and you can see how writers carefully control your focus just by changing the voice of a sentence.
These aren't just a bunch of boring definitions. They are keys. They give you the power to go back to that confusing Shakespeare play or that dense novel and see it with brand new eyes, to see it for what it really is. So the only question left is, what story are you going to unlock first?